everybody. Today we have a very special guest, Dr. Susan Dixon. We really hope you enjoy it, so stay tuned for this amazing and very informative episode. Hey everybody, thank you so much for joining us today. Today we have Dr. Susan Nixon. Dr. Susan, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I'm excited for you to talk to us about we have a lot of things going on right now in the world. And we need someone who is very knowledgeable like you to give us some points and tips on how we can navigate our life, our new normal for a lot of us.
Mm-hmm.
Please take the stage, if you will.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for the opportunity. And I'm happy to share my knowledge and my experience with you all. I love being a part of this Facebook page as well. So thank you, Roxy, for having this platform. I am a mental health counselor, I'm a meditation teacher, and I'm a wellness specialist. And I have seen so many different experiences, but I have never seen anything like we're going through now. This is really surreal. This is out of the ordinary. And Roxy's right. We're all adjusting to this new normal. And as we're doing that, I think we first have to realize that, and I'm writing a little blog about it, that we're all going through a state of shock, right? Like shock, like what's happening right now? Is this really going on? Is this something that's going to last for a long time, or is this going to go away tomorrow? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I go to bed at night and think, well, when I wake up in the morning, this will all be a dream, right?
Yeah.
So it's very normal to go through what I call the shock phase. This kind of, what's going on here? And then we come back to earth in a way, and we say, this is going on. And then we're going to have a lot of different thoughts, and we're going to have a lot of emotional feelings, and we're going to have different kinds of behaviors because of this new normal. And so that's what so far I'm witnessing in myself and seeing with other clients. So it comes a time where we have to take care of ourselves. We have to take care of our mental, emotional, physical well-being, because that is how we're going to make it through this. This is how we're going to cope. So the first thing to realize as women is we need to take care of ourselves. And as we all heard the metaphor of put on your oxygen masks first, but I have a little saying that I would like to say that is from a Tibetan philosopher. Maybe some of you know him. It's Thich Nhat Hanh. And what he says is, when the crowded Vietnamese refugees, their boats met with storms or pirates, if everyone panicked, all would be lost. Even if one person on the boat remained calm and centered, it was enough. It showed the way for everyone else to survive. And I think that's a beautiful metaphor for women in particular, because we are the stable person at the homestead, if you will, that we are the person that everybody surrounds themselves by. We're like the staff of the maypole, and the kids and husbands all gather around us. And so we have this enormous responsibility. Sometimes we like it, sometimes we don't. But
Hard.
what we have, right? Isn't it hard?
Really hard.
Do you find that too, that you are the maypole in your family?
I feel like sometimes it depends on the situation. I feel like since my husband is kind of both of us together as a glue, but in a particular situation like this, for example,
Yeah.
I'm a little nervous about what's going on. So he's kind of the one telling me it's going to be fine, it's going to be okay. And then I get my thoughts together, and then I'm like, okay, we're good to go. Let's keep moving forward. But yeah.
And it's wonderful that you have that kind of relationship with your husband, that you both can come in and out and support each other with different kinds of strengths that you each have. And I just want to say that's the sign of a really healthy relationship, when you can both move in between that. So we have to get to a place of really intentionally self-caring for ourselves, with that intention, with that mindfulness attitude that I matter, I need to take care of me. And in taking care of me, I can help other people in my family, and we can all, move through this. And we have to remember also as human beings that we are resilient. And so we're going to have to tap into our inner strength, our inner courage, our inner wisdom in a way perhaps we haven't accessed in a long time. And we have that. You know, there is something called the feminine wisdom that is just a natural part of our essence. It's the way that we're wired in our neurobiology as well as in our gut health and in our hormonal health. So we're going to have to access that resiliency, that strong warrior woman that we have, as well as what I'd like to call, you know, the priestess woman, the one that's really very smart and wise, as well as the, you know, the earth energy, the woman that is very nurturing. So we're called on to have a clear mind, a wise mind, to have, you know, an intelligence that's the feminine intuition, to have wisdom about being home and what it's like being home, and having that wisdom and knowledge, and having heart space. So to self-care,
Self-care.
you have to first
Are you
go on.
you have a really quick question before, because my mind's kind of, because you talk so much amazing stuff that my mind is really wondering.
Stop me anytime.
I don't I So what do you tell the moms who are just they're the only one in the household? So your stay-at-home moms or the single working moms who now have to be home teaching the kids, cooking, doing more than they were doing a few weeks ago, and now we're working from home and have to manage the kids in school at the same time, and a lot of them are overwhelmed, I know. What kind of tips or advice can you give those moms in particular?
And so I do want to say to, you know, to you and to all of you, you know, I was divorced early in my life when my kids were 5 and 9, and I was single throughout their entire childhood and teen years. So I really do relate to women that are on their own. I've been through it. It's challenging. It has its rewards later on, I can promise you. Um, and it is difficult. So I think the first thing you have to do is be gentle on yourself. This is the time to really be gentle and be tender, and to know that this is going to be trying on you in every way, and it is going to pull at you, and sometimes you're going to do the right thing and sometimes you're not going to do the right thing. um, and what's important is that you recognize that so that if you're doing the right thing, like you're structuring your kids in such a way that they are attending to their school lessons, then actually internally applaud yourself that you're doing something right and they're cooperating and it's running smoothly. And then sometimes if you find yourself, you know, yelling at them because of your own impatience or intolerance, you know, recognize that, say, I got out of control here. You know, then come back into a place of emotional balance and then approach your kids in a different way. So I think what's important is first be gentle on yourself. You are going to make mistakes and you're also going to do things really well. And then catch it, you know, catch it when you're doing things right, and you know, affirm yourself and catch it when you're not doing things well, and then try to make amends in whatever way. And working at home and doing school for your kids is difficult. So I think the first thing to do is you want to have a structure. That is number one. Just like when you were raising your babies and your toddlers, the way that babies and toddlers thrive is by having a structure. You had a wake up time, you kind of train your kids when to go to sleep, you know, when they're infants. You have feeding times, you have play times. The most important thing to do with your kids right now is have a structure. To wake up, maybe they can sleep in longer, but wake up, you know, by 8:39. Have time for breakfast and showering, and then they go to school. And they do school in your family room or in their living room. And then you proceed from there. Then they can take a break and they can have a snack and they go back to school. So make yourself a work home school schedule. Then during that, depending on the ages of your kids, know when you have to be with them on homework and when you know that they can be independent. Because remember, teachers are not always on their back. Teachers are not always involved with them. Teachers have them do self-directed work. So you need to find that rhythm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
Roxy?
I feel like, because the kids know you're home, like they can, mommy this, and they're like, how do you tell them in a good way without, like you said, losing your patience? I'm at work, you're at school. So what's the, because I know I've heard some of my friends who are like, yes, I'm working, my kids still act like just not there, and going to talk to me every 5 seconds and I can't get nothing done.
And there's a couple of things that you can do. When a child comes, mommy, 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 you want to say, first, acknowledge it. I hear you, and I hear that you want my attention, and I would love to give that to you, but right now, mommy has to work. So right now is not the time. So you need to go do, and again, direct them. You need to go play with your dolls, or play with, or read a book, or practice your writing. It's almost like setting up a Montessori school with little stations that they have, and you self-direct them to it, right?
Yeah.
And the second thing that I used to use as a single mom is I used to have a timer. Some people don't have them anymore because we have them on our stoves, but have a handheld timer. And I would put the timer on and say, mommy needs 30 minutes. You may not interrupt me. And in 30 minutes, then I will, be with you. So you have to do a time sensitivity kind of thing, a time structure with them to know when you're available and when they're not. You could even go to the extent and order it through Amazon of getting one of those little clocks that offices put on their walls that says I'm in, I'm out, to show the kids that too. So anything that you can do for children that is visual or that is tactile is going to be more effective than just using your words, because it's going to go by them. It's going to be like wind in the ears, right?
Correct. 100% agree.
And how old are your kids again?
14-year-old, 11-year-old, and Bellatrix, who's 8, but she acts sometimes like a teenager. So she's like talking to teenagers.
I'm finding that with my granddaughters, the same thing. Like, you're 8 years old, So what you want to do is each kid has their own learning path, right? And which one of you?
The youngest been the hardest one because the other two, they know what to do. They have their Chromebooks. They know what to do, what not to do. They get their emails. But the littlest one, she's been doing really well. But it's more of like, and can I, mommy, this? So she does. I'm like, just do your stuff. But she wants my attention. She's home. She wants to be more with me. So it's a little bit tougher.
Yeah. So what I would do with her is, you want to make eye contact with her when you're talking with her. And you want to say, first, you have to affirm. So whether it's your child or your husband or your partner, you want to say, I hear what you're saying. I know you would like my attention. And right now, I'm not available. I will give you my attention then. You try to be a big girl and see what you can do on your own. And then I'll go over it with you. And let's see where you were successful and where you need my help. So in that way, she may be able to do that. Now, what is her favorite activity besides being with you when she's on her own? What does she like to do?
Dance.
Say that again?
She likes to dance. She's always.
Oh, perfect. So what you can say to her, is she allowed to go on YouTube videos?
Oh, her studio has virtual classes. They have a set schedule for the kids that is helping a lot. At the beginning, I was like, oh my gosh, she has schoolwork, but now with the school being more structured and then the dance being structured, it's helping so much because now she has a set schedule. She knows what she has to do. It's back to normal for us a lot more now.
And I love that that's happening. And I really have to applaud our community of all these businesses and activities that are coming out and doing it online. Like, big applause.
It helps a lot of the parents that they're able to be, okay, you know what, your studio or your karate studio send you a video, you have to do it. And I think it's helping and giving the parents a lot of relief now to tell the kids, well, your teacher sent you this, you have to do it.
Yeah.
So I think it's helping a lot. And I know it's hard and it's so difficult for everybody right now.
And for that, see if you could phrase it in a different way, Roxy, of saying, this is your special time with your dance teacher. This is between you and your dance and your classmates. And I am going to stay out of it because it's your private special time.
When she knows she has something, she's like, okay, she like, you can go now, mommy. So when they do that, it's so much, it's easier. It's
right.
Since that whole structure with dance came along, even it's been amazing.
So what you may also want to say to her is, you need to practice this. So while I'm working, you go in your room, turn on the music, and start practicing, and maybe record it. I mean, if you have something that she can record herself, like an iPad, have her record herself, and then she could look back and see how she's doing. So what it's going to pull from you is all your creative energy to think about how I can do something on task and frame it as a positive, not I have to do or not work, right? as a pleasure activity and a way to become really good at your dancing.
Yeah, I know. I completely agree. I know that, like I was saying earlier, a lot of my friends is right now is at the beginning was so overwhelming because they're like, I have to be now besides being a mom and everything else, now I have to teach them. So it got hard thing. I keep hearing it was a little overwhelming for a lot of the moms and not the moms, just the parents in general. So I think now hopefully things are getting a lot calmer and calmer as they can be.
And you're absolutely right that, for moms and dads, it was really hair raising at first. And there are some homeschool on platforms that are coming up, so they can help with self-directed teaching as well. But the other thing that you point out that I think is good is that, kids were given like 10 days before they had to do their schoolwork, right? The teachers hadn't posted yet, but we parents didn't have any time. There was no like lead in time, like work didn't say, oh, you have 5 days off to adjust to this, right?
Yeah.
We were just thrown right in it.
It was like, I was like, oh, okay. Like, yeah, it was.
Yeah. And that's what made it more difficult for we parents, we adults, is that we didn't have any cushion time, no padding.
Yeah,
So again, that was what I called in the beginning. That's the shock of like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this?
yeah, I think
Um,
the stage that we're getting, like, we know it's happening. You know what I mean? Like, we're still in the shower, like, okay, it's happening.
right. Yeah. So after shock, you come into, you start to calm down a little bit more and realize that, yes, you had this overwhelm, which was typical. And now you're coming back into yourself again, and establishing a new rhythm, which is another great word to use, is that we have a new rhythm in our family system. And you and your husband talk about what that rhythm is, like, how's it going? And you check in, which is the other part, is that I would encourage families to have family meetings every night
Yeah,
right
so
now.
I know a lot of, I mean, there's people are always asking in the group, what kind of games can we do online, in Zoom or Facebook Messenger and Skype. So I think that's such a fantastic idea to just, I know something really funny I saw is they were playing flip cups. I'm like, hey, what do you do to make yourself enjoy, happy and have fun with the family, even if I'm on the video.
Yeah. So the two things that you're saying is, one, what I like to suggest is after you have your kitchen dinner, your dinner at the kitchen table, and everybody helps clean up, hopefully, you then sit down in more of a relaxed environment, like say the family room, and you just say, let's do a check-in. Let's every day see how the day went for you. Like, this is really a new rhythm. So how was it for you today? Jackie, how was it for you today? Penelope, so you ask everybody in the family, how was their day to day, and listen to what their rhythm was and how they feel like they're adjusting to it. And I would do that every day, and then let your kids talk for, 5 minutes, and then give somebody else the turn. And the other thing that you said, you can do Zoom meetings with your extended family,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Um,
It's so fun.
so families are doing Zoom meetings like at 8 o'clock at night for half an hour with the grandparents or the aunts and uncles or nephews and nieces and cousins. So I would encourage that as well.
Yeah, I think I think it's such a fun idea. What advice would you give couples now with who is just them two together? Like, what
Mm.
advice would you give those kind of individuals?
Um, at first, couples, couples go through a different thing. At first, it's like, wow, we're home together, like that we're having a home retreat. This is really awesome.
Yeah.
Until a few days go by, and then they realize that no, this may not be awesome because other things get kicked up. So when we're in an intimate space with the person that we love, there's going to be times when our relationship is flowing really well, and times when it's not flowing and there's hardship. And when that happens, you need to have some kind of a nonverbal signal to your spouse or your partner and say, I need a timeout.
Yeah.
I need a timeout. I need a half an hour space, and then I can connect with you. So there are some husbands that are saying to their wives, well, we can have more sex now, right? We can mess around more. We can mess around, before lunch. And, so men tend to think that way, right? And the women are saying, wait a second, that's not what I planned for,
Maybe or maybe not.
Well, yes, I will say that too. There are some women whose sex drive is even more than the man, but there's going to be this, sexual dance, as I like to say, this sexual dance of intimacy of let's be sexual a lot more. And the other person's saying, well, let's not do that a lot more because I don't really feel like doing that.
Yeah.
So you have to have some kind of a rapport and understanding and agreement about that. Because each partner, whether it's a male or female, you have the right to say no when it's not right for you. And then you say yes when it's right for you. So develop some intimacy guidelines when you're staying at home so you don't feel overwhelmed or on demand. Right?
I like
On
that.
demand.
On demand.
So each couple will do it, what's right for them, but just know it's a good activity to do and to just build it into your conversations. Like, now that we're in this, rhythm, let's talk about everything. Let's talk about how we eat, like, who's going to help prepare, and or do we want to do that activity together? Or we want to switch on and off, and when we can have our alone time, not our alone time for work, but our alone time to just get ourselves together. And maybe you want to paint your nails, or maybe you want to have a facial, and that's your alone time. And the man may want to do, something else with his alone time.
Play video games. My husband play video games with the kids.
Yeah.
He writes. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But when you start to feel the tensions rising and arguments starting, somebody has to say, let's pause, because we're either not hearing each other, we're getting overly emotional, and let's pause for a minute and what I call step back and just take a few breaths, see if we can reconnect. And if we can't, let's take a time out and take 15 minutes away from each other and then come back and connect. Because what you don't want to do is have highly escalated emotional conversations, at this time, even though your feelings may be highly emotional.
Yeah.
You want to step back a little bit first. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, of course. So, and now here's another one for you. What about the people who are, hate to say this word, or I hate to even put it out there, but the ones who are home alone?
Yeah, I mean, home alone is, you have to develop, and this is a lot of my approach when I'm doing psychotherapy with clients. When you're alone, or even when you're in partnership, the first relationship is with the self. So it may be the first time that people are realizing that I have to tap into me and develop myself. And some people are saying, well, I'm not sure who I am, or I don't feel resilient, or I don't feel like this. So there's a learning curve, where we're challenged if we live alone, and to develop more skill sets within and to connect to ourselves within. And that may bring up, a lot of feelings or a lot of thoughts about that. I can do this, or I don't feel capable of doing this. So we'll each first go through that kind of experience. And then if you're alone, you want to do the same thing. You want to have structure. And again, as a woman that lives alone, my structure is, in the morning, I wake up, I light a candle right now, because I want to bring in the light when there's so much, heaviness and some darkness around us. I want to light a candle and just remember there is light. And there is light in darkness. There is a lamp in the darkness. And we have to access that. Because if we don't, we're going to go down this rabbit hole of negativity and depression and anxiety. And we don't want to go there. So if we can prevent that, if you go there, then, I teach skill sets for how to deal with that. So I light a candle, and then I do my meditation, because I've been meditating for a long time. I do my meditation for 20 to 30 minutes. And then after that, I make my breakfast, or I may go for a walk. I don't check emails until an hour to an hour and a half have passed, and I have at least connected to myself, opened the door to feel the fresh air and look at nature and hear the birds. So I feel part of nature in myself, and then I check my emails. So as a single professional woman that's self-employed, that's what I do. So for single people, first develop a routine, then reach out for support. You must connect to the friends that you trust. My earring just fell off. And you must connect to the people that you believe you can trust and are there for you and are accepting. It's not the time to connect with people that you just have an in and out relationship. Find those friendships where you can circle around the wagon with them and you can connect, and then schedule, Zoom calls with them on a regular basis. And then when you schedule them, don't make them all happy hours, right? Um, be innovative. Make maybe a few of them happy hours, but you can have coffee chats, you can have round table chats, you can talk about, how you're doing, your self-care at home, any kind of bath salts or facials that you're giving yourself. Do it around an activity, not just around, oh, the heck with it, not just around, pouring out feelings, right? But also have that too. So you have to disperse the way that you're connecting, and just know that there is support out there for you. And there are platforms that you can also zoom into that can help you work with your feeling of being separate or loneliness. And a lot of them do come from the mindfulness movement. Just Google mindfulness platforms for creating calm, or mindfulness platforms for single people. They'll pop up, and then you can do them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great advice. People need a lot of. I just can't imagine what people who are home alone are going through. Hopefully, you just said a really bad, a really strong word, depression. That's something that a lot of people are trying to avoid and don't know if they have it, or are scared of, or they don't know the symptoms, and they have teenage kids. They just,
Yeah.
it's a mix of everything right now. So how do you know? Yeah.
Yeah, you're so right. You're so right. And I'm glad you said that, because after we go through shock and then we start to adapt to this, we also may go through grief. So I think people go right now going from shock, some adaptability, and then grief, because we're grieving what we have lost. We're grieving the normal that we had. We're grieving not being able to go to the grocery store and avoid people or wear masks, or like myself, I'm taking advantage of these senior hours, right? We're going through grief because we can't connect to our girlfriends or our couple friends, or our kids can't go to childcare, right? They can't go to school. So we're all grieving in different ways. And when we grieve, at first we go through denial, like shock, this is not happening. Then we go through this kind of anger, I'm angry that this is happening. This is not what I wanted. I want my new life, my old life back. Then we go through what we call bargaining. Well, if I do this, can my old life come back again? And then we go through sadness, and we feel really, really sad. And I think that's what you're tapping into, is that you're going to feel sad. And it's okay if you cry. And it's okay if you feel low and down at times. That is typical sadness and grief. Where you don't want to go is depression. And the way that you know the difference is that you're going to have emotional feelings, and then you're going to have physical ones that are with them. And the physical signs of depression would be fatigue, exhaustion. I don't want to do anything. I'm not motivated. I can't concentrate. I'm crying more often. I'm crying several times a day and I can't stop. I'm feeling hopeless. Sometimes I think it would be better if I'm not here. And if you feel those feelings more days than not, and if those feelings are intense, then you are entering into depression. And that's when you have to reach out and get help. There are hotlines that you can call, crisis hotlines. Loudoun County does have some web pages for your health and wellness that are free. And you can contact the health department to find out about it, and the different community foundations, or you can go the private practice route and contact a therapist yourself. So there are avenues, and also call your physician. If you're feeling that, call your physician, and you may want to, ask that physician by telehealth whether or not this is real depression, and should I go on some kind of medication? And if you have to go on medication, that is not bad. Because during depression, your neurotransmitters are thrown off. It's like a virus that hits your computer. In order to correct the virus in your computer, you have to have an antivirus program, right? So that happens with depression and anxiety. We have to get reset again neurologically. So it's not a failure, it's not a weakness if you have to do that. And your doctor or your therapist will help you determine whether that's needed.
Anxiety.
Anxiety. Yeah.
Another way.
Everybody is feeling anxiety, because what brings anxiety are two things: fear and the unknown. Oh, and the third one is being out of control, right? And aren't we all feeling this? We're fear. Are we going to have jobs? Are we going to have financial security, right? You know that.
biggest one right now. It's bad with that. It's like you don't know if a lot of people are not working anymore, and then it's just a mix of so many emotions for everybody right now.
You're so right. So many people with, with jobs, whether it's a corporation or a storefront or your everyday kind of people, we don't know our job security, and that brings us fear. And the fear produces anxiety. And then we go into the unknown. Well, will I get my job back, or will I get this loan that the government has promised us we will get? Or this, this extra payment, will I get it? Will arrive on time? So then we feel the unknown. And then we feel out of control. Well, I have no control of this situation. Somebody else is in control. And so that brings on a flood of anxiety. And that feels really uncomfortable. And the symptoms would be physically, you're shaking, you're moving around a lot, you feel upset in your stomach, you're not sleeping, you either are not eating or overeating, you feel emotionally out of control. And so those are some things that will happen to you. And also you can't concentrate, you have racing thoughts all the time about what's going to happen, and you can't calm your mind down. You feel emotional swings in that. And you just feel this restlessness, this antsiness about you all the time. And if that happens, anxiety is very different than depression. So one thing I like to do with clients, we shake it out. You have to, and do this with the kids. It's kind of like the hokey pokey kind of thing. You have to shake out your anxieties and your worries and release that energy. We're energy beings, and we need to release that anxious energy, and then try to settle into a place of calm, which is only inside of your body. It's not always in your head first. So you try to find a place of calm inside, and then you access your mind and reset your mind towards some level of calm. Also, you want to move. So if you're single, go out and take your walks, and walk, really, really fast, and then pause and walk really fast and pause. If you're a family, go out for your family walks, and do it with the intention. Again, attention makes all the difference in the world. The intention of, I'm walking to reduce my anxiety, to reduce my fear. And the body loves you for that. Because the body doesn't like anxiety either. That's why it's giving you all these symptoms. Now, if you find yourself where your heart's racing, and you feel your blood pressure's going off, and you're having heavy breathing, or you can't breathe, then you're having an anxiety attack. Then you're going into panic. And when you go into panic, you really need to begin to self-talk, and or connect to somebody that's in your home and say, I'm feeling panic. I need help. Will you help me? Right? And then what you have to do is just be present for that person, touch that person, hold their hands, not sometimes hug them, but first hold their hands, make eye contact with them and say, I know you're feeling panic right now. I'm here for you. And what we're going to do together is we're just going to breathe. Because when you're going through panic, your breathing is shallow. So you breathe from here up. When you breathe from here up, your body naturally will go into anxiety. It doesn't like that. So say, anxious, 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 we're not getting our oxygen. So when you're connecting with somebody, or if you're alone, even look in the mirror, you want to get your breath down to your belly and breathe deep into the diaphragm, because that will restore the natural biochemical reaction that you're having with anxiety and panic. And then again, reach out for support, and if you need to, reach out to your doctor.
Oh my God, so many amazing tips you're giving us right now. You're telling me, and I'm like, can I imagine people who are going through this right now, and what we can do? All the advice you're giving everybody right now, I hope
Oh,
it helps so much. It's going to help everybody to realize that they're not alone. They can get help. That we really are in all this together. That they're not the only ones who are scared, worried, don't know what's going to happen tomorrow and next week. So it's a lot.
you're right. It is a lot, and I think, and I'm thankful. Thank you for liking the tips that I'm giving. And I think what we have to say is, our mental well-being, our emotional well-being is going to be challenged, and what we've got to orient ourselves to is fortifying our mental wellness, fortifying our emotional wellness, fortifying our physical wellness, fortifying our relationships so that they're healthy and well. So we've got to change that mindset, that dialogue that we're giving ourselves, and orient it to the positive. And where you're right, Roxy, is that what this is doing, I mean, if there's any silver lining we can find from this, is that it is unifying people in their humanity.
It is. I was thinking that was like it's making us. I know it's the wrong, not in a good way, but it's making a lot of us so much closer to our family members, checking up on our friends, the community. And obviously, that's not the way we wanted it to be, but it's doing it. And yeah.
Yeah, we don't like the way this has been activated because we would just like our world to be like this anyway, but it's not. Our world is out of balance. So, you know, I think part of what's happening is our world is getting back into balance again and connecting to humanity, and we're all equal. We're all the same. We're all going through this. And to embrace the fact that the silver linings can be, I am feeling kinder to people. I am caring more. I am thinking of more. I am extending out with support. Some people are being very generous and sharing money or resources with their family and friends. And I'm connecting in a way with my family that I've never done before. The kids may like it, or I may not say it, because you're present. You're present with them now, and they have the security of one parent or both parents being with them. And that makes them feel safe, right?
100%. Oh, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're going more into a stage of gratefulness, which is another great thing to do for yourself or for your family, to write in a gratefulness journal, just anything. Like today, I heard the birds outside singing, and I just realized that I don't pay attention to that enough because I'm so busy working on my computer. I don't realize that the birds are singing at 5:30 or 6 o'clock in the morning. And do you know why they do that? The birds sing before darkness. So just about as the sun's going to rise, the birds will come out and they'll start singing, because the most oxygen there is during a day is early morning as the sun rises.
Oh my gosh.
So the birds are really kind of soaking in the oxygen, the fresh oxygen. So there are some people in the Asian countries, when they're doing more of a natural way of working with their cancer or autoimmune disease, they actually go out before the sun rises and they sit in nature and they drink in the oxygen and do deep breathing to take in the gifts of the fresh air that we have.
It's not like the way you're explaining it to me, it sounds so refreshing right now. Though it sounds like tomorrow, I want to wake up at 5 in the morning, wait for things so I can go to outside my balcony or my patio and smell it and be there with them. Because there's something you just need to go out for like 5 seconds and just just open your eyes and just just breathe a little bit. 2 days ago I put makeup on after almost 3 weeks. I'm like, you know what? I told my husband I'm gonna go shower, put my makeup on, my lashes on, and relax, put some clothes on. And I went live in the group and we just talked for a little bit and it just felt good.
That's wonderful.
Scared that my pants weren't going to fit me anymore, but they did fit. So.
Yeah. That's great, because what you're doing is respecting your needs in the moment, and you're putting away judgment or what you used to do, and you're going with what you want to do. But the other thing about, if you get up in the morning and you're out there with the birds as the fresh oxygen comes in, know that when the sun rises, in the tradition of the Native Americans, is that the east is the time when the sun rises of inspiration, rejuvenation, recharging, and illumination. So in the Native American tradition, I've been trained in different healing techniques. And when I studied this in the 1980s, I know I'm showing my age here, I studied the 4 directions and the wheel of the Native Americans. And so you want to, if you're feeling depressed or you're feeling hopeless, you get up with the sunrise and you allow the sun to bring in the illumination, the refueling, the recharging, the refortifying of you. Because let's face it, we're all nature. We all come from the same earth in that way, or spirit in that way, and we're connecting to nature and letting her feed us, right?
Oh, I love that. Oh my gosh, that sounds so amazing.
So you can do it as a family thing, right? Or you and your husband could go out there.
I don't know, I just want to wake up that early. Yeah, but such an amazing tip, and I want to do that tomorrow. I'm gonna set my alarm. Watch, I'm gonna wake up at 5 whenever the sun's gonna rise. I'm gonna go live and hopefully I'll do it tomorrow. Okay, I'm gonna try and do it tomorrow, but I will, because that's.
You could go out live with a microphone and just say, "Here I am, and I am taking in the tips and refueling myself, and
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I mean, it really
Yeah.
does do that. And I think such a wonderful and great advice you're giving us. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
It is my pleasure. And, if you're needing support, please reach out. I mean, I give 10 minutes of free support. You can find me on my webpage, SuzanneNixon.com. And I am going to do 3 groups. And one group is called Quarantine, a Women's Support Group. And another is, Quarantine, a support group for parents. And the third one is just a meditation class. And they're each 6 weeks. So if you're feeling like you're needing that kind of support, check out my website and you can find out more. But I'm available for 10-minute calls right now if you need to connect and just have that. And also I'm on this page, and I love this page too, I love this platform. And I answer them all the time when I can, with any tips that people give. And I so appreciate the referrals. It has been a wonderful place. And I didn't know that you had this page, a directory page. So I'm going to sign up for that. Yeah, I didn't know.
It's fun. I mean, I have learned so many. Every time someone says, I'm like, I didn't even know we could do that, or they have that business. It's mind blowing. All the things that we have in the group with these ladies with the business, it's just so much fun.
And you're such a connector. So what's wonderful about you is you're connecting, people with your high energy and your enthusiasm. And, we're getting to really develop a really, really great community.
Ladies to help each other and be there for one another. And that's all I want for the group. And just, give each other advice, just support each other. That's all I want.
Yeah.
Everybody in that group.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you're part of it. I appreciate you giving us tips online today in our second YouTube episode, as well as in the group. Definitely gonna get I'm gonna ask you to give me all these links so I can post them as well, so the ladies can know where to find you. And I'm so grateful for you. Really, I am. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. And the feeling's mutual. So if a need comes to have another kind of Zoom platform, just let me know what the need is, and I'm happy to share my knowledge with you all. So just let me know.
Every day if I could.
Oh, you're so kind. You're so sweet. Well, thank you for the opportunity, and I'll see you again.
Bye.
Bye.